welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv. So today is Monkeybread software Christian Schmidt, who is actually a true gem. He's a treasure in the FileMaker community. We're very lucky to have him come on the show with us and talk to us. And he releases updates to products. I think he's on 13.5, Margaret. It says 13.4, but I think he's on. Are you on 13.5 now, Christian?
Yeah, we are, but we still have to make 13.4 for the live stream.
Okay, well, then we'll cover that, and then we'll cover the next one. So Monkeybread is the ultimate plugin. I always used to think it would be really great for Claris to buy it and put it in the product. And I think it would be great initially, but then they wouldn't keep it up to date like Christian does. Because here's the thing with Christian Schmidt. We give him a couple bucks. It's actually very inexpensive. It does a ton. And it solves a million things that FileMaker cannot do on its own, right? Like FileMaker, here's a video feed and take a screenshot of the video feed or something like that. This plugin does stuff like that. It does all sorts of crazy things. Your customers are going to ask for something, and you're going to end up telling them no if you don't have like Monkeybread in your inventory of things you can use, right? So this product is very inexpensive. I'm selling it for him right now. Christian doesn't have to say anything. Margaret, hit the buy it now. Let's take a look at the pricing, okay, on that. His pricing page a little bit convoluted, but when you read this, it's 1 to 5 seats, and you see 149. That's not really 149 per person, right? That's 149 for that group of people, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. See, so the way he writes this is misleading, because if you read it this way, you think, well, if you're buying from 1 copy to 5 copies, you're going to take like 3. I have 3 people, 3 times 149. I'm like, that's kind of pricey. But it turns out, no. It's 5 divided by 149, so it's pretty cheap, right? So it's like $20 or $30 or something. So the price on this is super good. There's different levels of this, especially if you need advanced PDF manipulation. You can buy the PDF library, Dyna PDF down there. You can buy into that and pay. And I've done that for my company. I paid for that because I realized it was so awesome I had to have it. And it allowed me to say yes to customers. That's a big thing. Either you are your own developer and you want to say yes, or you work for someone, you want to say yes. You can say no to people. There always be a developer conference. They'll say, learning when to tell your customers no. That's an important skill set. But if your entire inventory of skills was limited to just what FileMaker could do natively, you'd have to say no to your customers too many times, right? Because when you say no enough times, they fire your ass, is what happens. They may not tell you that to your face, but they'll say something like, your services are no longer required. We've hired XYZ other company who says yes to us more. And so this allows you to say yes, legitimately say yes, and keep your customers happy. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Christian Schmidt, who is now going to tell us why we should use 13.4. We're talking about 13.4, but you're shipping 13.5. But we're talking 13.4 features. Margaret, are we going to come back and talk about 13.5 at some point?
I've already scheduled 13.5 in 2 weeks. Yep.
So 2 weeks. Okay, great. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to mute, and I'm going to have lunch, and I'm going to watch the show. So engage.
Okay. One of the big features from 13.4 is to use Phidget devices. Phidgets is a company making little measurement devices.
Yeah, why don't you share your screen? Show us that.
I want to show them in the camera. So here's one with a little LCD display. And on the back side, it has 8 digital and 8 analog input and output ports, which you can use in FileMaker. So you can connect something to the ports, like I just put in the LEDs here. So I can turn them on and off. But you could put anything on it, like turning off and on your garage door or some robot or whatever. And then I got a little slider here, which you can then move up and down. And you can get the value where it is in FileMaker, and you can get a script triggered when the value changes. With various sensors, for example, I got a light sensor. Look, little box here. It measures how much light falls into it. And then I also got a temperature sensor. So I can build like a weather station. You can connect these devices with a hub. This is the hub box. It has an USB on the one side and 6 connections to the devices. So I can put on cables here. There's also a box available with Bluetooth. Now let me just share the screen. So we are on the Phidgets website here. So they have different devices, different sensors, for example. So that you can measure temperature, you can measure light and sound, gas pressure, pH, voltage, positioning, proximity, distance. You can also use different motors. So you can control a motor if you like. And they also have things like RFID tag readers. And you can just buy different widgets there, connect them, and build something in FileMaker. And with our plugin, we got a couple of Phidget functions here. So you can, in Software Go, and you can load the library. So there's a software to install on your computer. Basically, on Mac, you need this Phidget framework file. On Windows, you need the DLL. You tell the plugin where to find it. So you can just load it. And once you loaded it, you would create an object. The plugin, you would tell the plugin, I need a digital input, a motor, or a humidity sensor, accelerometer, or here infrared receiver.
So when you create it, are you going to give it a name, or you're just activating that?
No, this just creates an object in FileMaker, so we can track this device, set properties, get script triggers.
Can I ask a question? What is an object in FileMaker? The way you just described it, what is an object?
Well,
pretend I'm a beginner developer, and I don't know what you just said. What is an object in FileMaker?
Okay, so an object is basically an item you refer. So when you say the plugin create an object, we will allocate memory in your computer memory. We will initialize this memory and then give you back a number for it. So for other functions, you can pass in this number, which we just store here in the $Phidget variable. And so you can refer to the same item in plugins managed memory. And then, for example, you can use set property here to set different properties. Like, well, what do we have? We have the light sensor. So the light sensor has a illuminance change trigger, which is the value you set for the minimum change to happen before the trigger is called. So you don't want to have the trigger run all the time. You may want to limit this to some reasonable thing. But also for the LCD, you can, for example, define how light should be the backlight. Do you like a cursor? Or for what other things would be here, RFID, you can turn on and off the antenna.
Okay.
So different things you can set for different things. A voltage output, for example, has an enabled flag, so you can turn voltage on and off. We need properties to just set and get values. So you would also use get property if you want to read something about this device. Like all the devices have things like, is it attached? Is it a local device? Is it a remote one? It has a device ID. It has a serial number. It has a name. So you can actually name your devices and the control panel for Phidgets. You can have a serial number, and you can even say the plugin, I would like to connect to a specific device with a specific serial number. So you can have several light sensors and pick which one you want to use.
Wow.
So you can here get a lot of things. So for our light sensor, we could here ask for, where is it? Not a particular light sensor, that is. So you can ask illuminance, what's the current value? What's the maximum? What's the minimum? What is the current trigger value? And then there's data interval, which defines how often the value is sent to the computer. So how quick it updates. You may want to set this to maybe every second. So you may not need a reading every 10 milliseconds. So the next thing would be, you may need a script trigger. So you may tell I need a script called when the device attaches, or for the light sensor whenever the illuminance
Now,
increase.
someone's excited. They have Phidgets. They currently have a button in FileMaker that unlocks physical door to let people in using a Phidget hub.
I want that. No, stop. I want that. Like, I need to know what part number they bought so I can, whoever that is, I will owe you a big favor if you can share with me the door. I asked Christian about this. I asked Hans about this. I always say I want FileMaker to open and lock a door. It's almost the simplest thing, right? And everyone says, oh, it can do that. And then it never happens. If one of our viewers has that, I would like that yesterday.
So I got the temperature example, which is included with 13.5 release, but
Oh, okay. So why don't
No
you go ahead
problem.
and show your screen then?
so this is a temperature example, and we see it's 23 degree here. The adapter can do -40 to 85.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and let me just push a little bit air. And you see the value is going up and back down.
That's really cool.
On the light adapter. Did I click? No, clicked, yes. So you see it shows open, it shows attached, and then it shows change event is coming. We have 16 here. Now let's turn it. 169, 259. So the light is, there is some light here in the office. It's not sunlight. So you see we get live updates here. And I can, of course, close the connection. And then I got the voltage input. So the slider I showed you is basically just changing the voltage. So your maximum 525 about. And then I can move it down and you see live updates. So
Yeah, you have to figure out what the bottom of that value is and what the top value is, right? And then you could
Yeah, that's 0 and 5.25.
Okay.
It's you see it here with a comma because, well, I'm in Germany. But for the US, it would be a dot, of course. You could take the slider and maybe put several sliders on a board, and then make your own sound control thing. You move up and down the volume of some sounds. So let me close them all and then show you a script. So script workspace. The first thing is load the library. Always a good idea. Then we open the Phidget. So first we load the library if needed.
Okay.
Then we create the object. So we create a Phidget object in memory for voltage input. Then we specify which device you like to find. In this case, the device I connected is on the hub on the port 0. So I do specify here in this case where to find it. And it's a hub device because it's connected to a hub, and the device can also have different channels, but my slider has only one slider. So there could be devices like slider or what do you call it? Like a knob you can rotate.
Yeah, potentiometer is what we're talking about, right? That kind of thing, a rheostat or a potentiometer, right? Yeah.
So you can specify which one you like. And then we set here an attach script trigger. So we get notified whenever the device is connected. Since I'm doing this while the device is connected, it comes right away, of course. So we get an attached script trigger. And by the way, we can zoom in if you need bigger text.
Yes. Actually, truly my most favorite feature of the entire product. How dumb and how dumb is that? But it is.
We get a script trigger, which is a JSON. And let me show you the JSON here. So you see, we get the ID of our widget. So we can have different widgets in use and get back the ID. We can use a tag parameter for the script trigger to pass whatever value you like. Like you could say, I open this widget and I give it the tag, whatever, volume control. And then this tag is passed back to you with a script trigger.
Oh,
so
okay.
So you can define yourself.
Okay. So instead of using the ID to look it up, it could be more human facing.
Yeah, you can put your own ID here. Then we get the voltage change trigger, and we get the value. Here you see this is just JSON and the value. So in the trigger, we get, of course, the ID for the device. So we use this to refer to the same Phidget object in memory. We set here some details, like here, send me a new value every second. Don't change me a value if it isn't at least changed by .1. So we don't want every little change, but you could, of course, set whatever you like. Then we register the script trigger for the voltage change to call our script. And I have to always tell people that if you go to manage security, that you need here to enable the plugin to call scripts. So if you don't have this privilege, so either if this privilege doesn't exist because you created the file originally with an older version of FileMaker, you don't need that. But if you have the privilege, it must be enabled for the current user, so the plugin can trigger a script.
Validate cross-file plugin access. Okay, say that again. Is that new, or have I just missed that? Is that in
That
here?
what was added, I think, 1 or 2 years ago in one of the FileMaker 19 releases.
Okay, so if I go over to, I'm just looking at mine over here. Let me see.
So
it's
you
that's
can,
that's extended, right? So it's extended.
yeah.
Okay.
Just if the plugin can't call a script and you're wondering why it doesn't trigger the script, you may need this enabled.
So it's if the file was created new from the last year or two.
Yeah.
Oh, but if we have a legacy database, it won't be in here.
Yeah.
So if I create a new file, I guess some of you knew about this, but I apparently, with everything else going on with Claris and me trying to explain forking and deforking, let me see. I'm going to create a new file. I just little things you see and you're like, what the hell? How come I missed that? How can I be a...
So next thing we do here is we query some information about the device to show in the layout, the max and the min. And then we wait for our first voltage change script trigger, which just picks up the voltage value from the JSON and shows it in the field. So you get a live update.
Oh, it's FM plugin. Okay, I saw it in the reverse order. Yeah, FM plugin I recognize. It was the validate, the description validate cross file. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it allows the plugin to use SQL commands to access the other databases or other tables, and also trigger script in other files. So, okay, we show the voltage value, and that's it for this example. Let's go to the light sensor. It's very similar. We load it. We open the connection for, here we ask for a light sensor, and we call open, and then it starts waiting for a device to show up. And in this case, I just say I need a light sensor and open it, and it will pick the first one it finds. So no serial number specified. Then we get the attached script when something is connected. And in this case, the important thing is to connect our illuminance change event for this object. Again, query a few values. And when a new illuminance is imported, we can just pick it from the JSON again. So things start to repeat. And to show it a third time, I can go to the temperature sensor. Like, again, we open. This time we ask for temperature sensor. And again, it finds the first one. It finds the first one. And when attached, we connect, in this case here, temperature change event. And also I limit it to say once a second and at least 0.1 degree change. Because FileMaker can be getting unresponsive if the plugin fires a script trigger like once a second, and your script takes longer than a second, then you have a problem.
Well, they normally stack up. Don't they normally stack in a queue? Or do they?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Until it breaks.
Yeah. So If you like to try this, please get the 13.5 plugin because I changed how these events are triggered. So in 13.4, you may have got like 10 script triggers per second, which could be very bad for you. But
Okay.
with 13.5, the plugin actually only triggers a script if FileMaker is idle.
Okay.
So if there's no script running, we dispatch our events. And after every event, we of course wait for FileMaker to becoming idle again. And if there are several changes reported by the device, we will give you the latest one. So if your script is too slow, you just miss a few, but otherwise it should just work.
Again, this is really cool. Yeah, people are, Jonathan is saying I'll definitely be looking at these MBS Phidget functions, especially if it saves me the headache of developing JavaScript files.
Okay, so if you go back here to, so you can find whatever devices you need. What was it? Knop? No, that's not this. So you can look for whatever they have here, moisture sensor, light. You can build so many things. Here is a modern interface kit, not like the old one I had. And motor control, here motion sensor. So you can actually do something like an alarm system. So it can trigger scripted FileMaker when someone is moving in your server room. Okay, so let's finish with Phidgets and go back to the announcement. So next change would be MongoDB. So for MongoDB, we got a few new SSL options. So if you like to connect to a MongoDB and you like to have an encrypted connection, as you probably want, you can specify a lot of details here. And you pass them directly to the plugin here. This key thing like where's your client certificate file, where's your certificate authority file, and whether to allow here invalid certificates, which of course you shouldn't, but sometimes for testing, people like to just allow both here. And then you can make your connection and enjoy some, well, an encrypted connection. And you can also specify a lot of options in the URL for your MongoDB. Well, this way you don't need to include them in the URL. You can pass them here with a function. Then we switched the SSL library for Mac and iOS to use OpenSSL to get the same feature set as on Windows and Linux. And then we got also a trace function for MongoDB. Like if you want to see all your changes in the MongoDB client software while you're working and maybe figure out why something returns an error, the trace feature could log you all the, yeah, maybe I should just do that. So quit again, start terminal. So we have to launch FileMaker from the terminal. I do have a little command line script here to launch myself FileMaker Pro with English. That's why I can show you the English version. So I launch FileMaker in the terminal. And now I open here a test file. And let's click show database. I get here the database shown. And looks like the trace was already enabled for me. So this is the log from MongoDB to see exactly what's happening. Oh, wow. A lot of messages. So here MongoDB is connecting and you see all the data sent to the server. Like here you see all the data packages sent to the MongoDB server and you can look for any error you like or any detail you may miss. So this logs everything. Like you see every little function call.
I mean, that's hex down there, right? Isn't that hex?
Yeah, this is hex because here you see it's sending a command ping admin.
I haven't had
preferences.
I haven't had to do that since I was 20 years old, but boy, I tell you, it goes back a ways.
So we can trace it, and it helps to find errors simply. If something goes horrible wrong and you don't know where to go. Also, you can call ping function to just say, I'm still there. Is the server still there? So you can check if your connection is still active by sending a ping. This is more useful if you try to keep your MongoDB connection open. Like you connect when your solution starts, and then you do regularly some transfers, and you like to have a script maybe running every minute to just send a ping and see if the connection is still there.
Make sure that it's all still copacetic.
Next thing we have, also very interesting, you guys probably use something like Dropbox or iCloud.
Yes.
Sometimes the user may, let's say, pick a file which is on the iCloud, and you may want to know, is this file actually downloaded? So you can use the plugin to ask, for example, for a file in the Dropbox, what's the status of it? And it tells you here, this file is current, it has been uploaded, it's downloaded. It's, of course, it's an ubiquitous item, so it's in a cloud storage. And then if the file is not downloaded, it would look differently, like status is not downloaded, but it has been uploaded before, but it's not downloaded. So the good thing here is that you can see the status and you can react on it, because we have two useful functions here. Start downloading ubiquitous item will, well, trigger the download of it. So it starts appearing.
That's cool.
Then you can also evict it to remove it.
Oh.
Let's just make a little test. Let's copy this on the desktop. My desktop is in the cloud. So let's see if I use here the data viewer and say I like to get the status. So let me copy this. Well, I can just type it. So watch plus MBS files. You know, I don't need to type it all because we have some useful feature. So let's here copy path. So we ask for the status and make it a little bit bigger. So you see this file is currently downloaded and it's in cloud storage. So let's remember this. And now we say here, oops, remove that, remove it. Okay. So you see here's a little cloud icon.
That's cool.
So let me put back the other command. What's the status? Oh, no, yeah. So I think there's a file, right? There's a file. Yeah. So it got a different name. So this is just the name of the placeholder file here. And if the user would select this file, I would now be able to tell the status and say, well, it's not downloaded. So maybe I should ask the system to download it. Okay, and you see the cloud icon went away.
That's very cool. It's wild that you can control that out of the FileMaker calculation engine.
It's a little thing, and but it can help. If you, for example, use, like some clients, they use a shared folder in a Dropbox or in iCloud to just share files. And so they want to see, they want to automatically export a file to the Dropbox folder from FileMaker. And then they want to know, is the file already uploaded? So the status is quite useful for this. So you can see whether the file is uploaded, and then other people can see it. And if you're on the other side, you can use our files list function to list the files in the Dropbox or iCloud folder. And then you can ask for each file the status and see, yeah, how it's going. And I added this because one of my users asked for it.
So they had a very specific use case in mind.
Yeah. So MBS plugin has the advantage that we sometimes implement a feature just for one user. But I hope it's useful for others.
If someone wanted it, that means someone else one day will want it as well. So
Okay, so DynaPDF got a little special thing for depart metadata, but I don't think you use it. And you can now also use your own signature engine. But maybe we talk a little bit about people using iOS SDK. So if you don't like FileMaker Go because you don't like the logo or the name, or you like to have your own database as a start, you can always use the FileMaker iOS SDK to make your own app, your own iOS app with your own icon, your own name, and your own starting database, which is basically a branded FileMaker Go, but it allows you to embed the plugin. And I usually recommend my bigger clients to just do that. And if they need, they can always ask Honza for the Xcode example. Like,
yeah, I think we had a stream on that at some point.
24U, no, what is it? 24U, iOS SDK.
Oh, they have their iOS app Xcode thing. Yeah.
Here, this thing. So if you don't want to do it yourself, you can use the service here to build your iOS app.
Yeah, Xcode.
Yeah. So you can use that. And now the trouble starts because you have a solution running on iOS, and you may need things like script triggers that FileMaker doesn't have. Orientation change.
Well, they have the on Windows size change, right? So.
Okay, yeah. But I had specific people asking me for orientation change.
Orientation, okay.
They want to know whether it's upside or if it's rotated left or rotated right. So.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
So, but also we have other triggers, like app is going to the background or is coming back to the front. You may find it useful.
That's interesting, and then this gets back into FileMaker Go. What's its default? Because we did FileMaker Go training early. Margaret was in the middle of that early when they first came out with it for FileMaker 11, and how it would go to sleep in the background or come front, that changed a little bit or quite a bit, right? It would hibernate and come back forward and dehibernate, and so, but having a trigger on becoming frontmost app again is interesting.
So you may want to maybe disconnect to something when you go to background and then connect again when you become active. Then we can also catch URL requests sent to the app. So like if FileMaker gets launched, so your iOS app gets launched with an URL, we can catch the URL. You can also react on memory warnings and significant time changes, like time zone changed. And here enter foreground, assign active. So you have this 4 scripts for going to the background and coming back to the foreground. It may be useful depending on what you code. So then if you have XML data and you like to just throw it to the plugin to create a new record, you can do that using our XML insert records function. The idea here is that you may get some kind of XML. You may optionally apply a style sheet to transform your XML. And then when you have an XML with records, you could just send it to the plugin. And we use here the names in the XML as the field names and the values here to create records. This is a separate thing to our XML import, which is a magic thing that creates tables and fields for you and then imports the data.
Wait. That's part of the XML serialization. Is that what you're saying? On FileMaker, the new XML they never finished it. It's what make the add-ons work on, the XML.
No. This is not related to the save as XML. This is just a way to easily import XML files.
Okay, got it.
So this is the bigger one, which also creates tables, fields, and then imports the data. And this is a small and quick one, which just needs XML with matching record names, and then you can just add them.
Okay. So this is data, not structure. Okay.
We got another function for curl. Curl nowadays includes a URL parser. So we got the idea that we may use that to say, let's say you have an URL and you got a relative one and you need a new full URL. So let's say you have a URL, you have something like here, /download, and you want to have the new URL. Of course, depending on how your URLs look like, this can get complicated. And I think we use that in one of our examples. Let's see. Was it here? Like, so this will download images from a website. So I need, what do I need? I need a website. Oh, it downloads. It loads my website. Oh, probably blocked here. Yeah. So I have a website and I can say download and it will just load all the images here. So the way we do it, we go through the HTML and look, of course, for the image URLs. Then we can use our new functions maybe to get a full URL if there's just a relative path for the file. And then we can just use our core functions to download it. Oh, I shouldn't allow everything. So, okay, this can be useful. Then we improve the JSON import to better handle arrays and arrays. Okay. And we can now open pipes. So what is a pipe? A pipe is a connection from one application to another to send data within the computer. Like a network socket, but locally between two applications. If you have any utility app running in the background which provides a pipe, we can now open it using our serial port functions because technically it's very similar. So we can just connect it. I see most people don't need that, but some do.
Well, I like knowing the definition of a pipe, right? Because that comes up periodically. And sometimes just getting the definitions is what I need. So,
Yeah. So usually you have something like a user interface app running on the background app. And the background app can create the pipe, and then the GUI app can connect to it. And then they can just send and receive data very quickly because it's not actually transferred. You write it in a memory block, and then this memory block is mapped from your process memory to the process memory of the other app. So it's not copied. It's just you access the same bytes in memory. It's
That's
very
cool.
Efficient. And you can transfer gigabytes per second.
That's cool.
In this case, it was made for a customer with a very specific app in the background, which offers a pipe to control it. Like you would tell it what job to do, and it would tell you when it's done.
Wow.
You need it. When you need it, you're happy.
It is there.
Okay, what else got we? We have the possibility for our calendar functions to return user result as JSON. Can be useful. Let's just test one. While I'm here, let's just go to data viewer. I ask, and if I just do 0, I get just the IDs, so I can query the details. But if I use parameter 1, I get back a JSON, and so we have here all the details, like the internal IDs and the type and the title. So I can. The idea is that you call the JSON version, you get back this big JSON block, and so you only call one function to get all the information instead of looping over all the sources, asking for each thing individually. So this can speed up a few scripts. Then let's see. So we have the photo picker functions. So photo picture functions allow you on Mac and iOS to ask the user for a picture from the photo library without getting a permission dialog. So the user made maybe a few pictures with the iPhone, is back on his Mac, and just likes to pick a picture from his photo database and put it in the FileMaker. And here we got a few new things like new modes. Yeah, there's a new compact style in macOS 14. Use. Then let me just see. If you ever need to encode something with base 32, we now have that. And you may ask, why do you need base 32 instead of base 64? Yeah, well, the answer is we have this top calculation function here to calculate you a time-based one-time password. And here, the password is usually provided, here the secret to use is provided base 32 encoded. So if you need to create such a secret, you would have to encode it, and then you need the encoding function. And this time-based one-time password calculation is very useful if you have this second factor authentication for some services. So you can actually have your script calculate this little 6-digit number you would have otherwise to enter yourself.
Can you scroll up on this real quick? I don't know how many people here are, yeah, one-time password, but that's a one-time pad, I think is where this originally came from, because that was something that's a espionage thing that goes on with moving data back and forth of overseas and things like that.
Well, it's also like
let's
what
see.
authenticators are based off of, right?
Yeah, but it's a one-time pad, if that's what we're referring to. It's a one-time use thing, and then after that, it doesn't get used after that. It's a one-time pad.
Yeah, so the idea here is this passcode changes every usually 30 seconds. Normally, you have an application like Google Authenticator on your iPhone. You log into a service. It asks you for the 6-digit code. You would use your Authenticate app to generate it, put it in. And here you have the possibility to calculate it by a script. So when a web service asks you for this code, you can just calculate it, provide it, and nobody needs to manually do it.
Okay, that's nice.
That was the idea here. And so we got this encode base 32 function, because sometimes the key is given to you as clear text, and so you need to encode it first.
What else we got here? You got quite
just a couple of bug fixes. A few more free functions, tracing, updated curl, and web download delegate.
Web download.
This is a thing. If you have a web viewer and a download is starting, so when you start a download, you can have the plugin give you a script trigger here. Like you get a script triggered when the download is starting, as progress goes on. Then the download finishes, you get to know where the file is located. So it's put in a temporary folder, and you can pick it up.
So it's on download complete. It's a script trigger that launches into FileMaker that tells you, well, it's a script that you could do whatever, but the download is completed.
So the idea is some people have like a banking website. They open in the web viewer, and then they click something to download a CSV file.
Yeah.
And with normal FileMaker, they can't get the file, as far as I know, at least. So they always complain to me, I need to know where the file goes. I need to have this download working, so I can just click here. Let's see, can I just...
So this allows us to download text files and things by clicking on it in
So you see, I click
viewer.
on it. Now, this is the MBS plugin showing the progress bar. Because that's part of the script here. We wait a second. 1, 2, 3. My internet is slow sometimes.
No, that's because you're streaming to us too. It's one of those things I forgot that was even an issue with the web viewer. But yeah. See, this is another moment where you can say yes to the customer, right?
So
But then you
get
could
here
pass
the,
that, right? You could tell that to open in the mat on the computer, right?
yeah.
Tell it to open.
So
it.
you get this URL was put into this pass here, long pass, and then there is a DMG file. And then your script can decide what to do. But for this one customer who has to use a website to always download his reports, it's very handy.
Oh, I bet he's thrilled. That's a good one, Margaret. That's another one where you get to say yes to a customer instead of saying no.
But
You
we
can't.
only got it for Mac.
Well, if people whine about it on Windows, I'm sure you can do it on Windows too. So
We do have some
All right.
questions.
any questions we have?
Is there a place on MBS to download just the plugin file, or do we have to download the disk image with the example files?
The answer is
We
yes,
do
but you probably want
have-
to know why.
Yeah,
Why?
okay, so we
Why?
have downloads and there's individual files, and here is a folder gzip, and there you have the plugins. So there's a Mac version, there's a Linux version for ARM, there's a Windows 32-bit and 64-bit, an iOS version, and there's a JSON file. And the idea here is that some people download this JSON file automatically every few days, see if the version changes.
And they
If the version
automatically
changes,
update.
they can download the plugin automatically. Right? Pick the right one here from the list, and then use the install plugin script step to install it.
There's a lot in here. My head's hurting.
Yeah, and there's a bootstrapping. Yeah, so we have here a sample script which would download the JSON file, pick which file to use here, download it using insert from URL, and then installs it. Oh, where's it? Installation is somewhere's installation.
You've had this for a while though, the auto load install thing, right? Or is this?
Yeah, we had that for a while, but the idea now is that you don't need the plugin to install the plugin.
Okay.
You can just go rip it directly off.
You
The
load it from
website.
the website and then automatically install it.
Amazing. That's really cool.
Any other questions, Margaret?
We do. Yeah, exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. We have some questions about the Phidget. Is Phidget compatible with Alexa or Siri?
If someone wrote a gateway for it, right? So I'm sure I guarantee Phidget's a big company. I guarantee someone's done that, at least with Alexa.
But
No.
I don't know. Sorry.
No, and then the other Phidget question does every Phidget must be connected to the internet?
Actually, they are not connected to the internet here. This is just locally USB.
Yeah, you don't have to have them on the
You can
internet at
also
all.
use Bluetooth devices, and you can have remote things. So you probably can tell a Phidget to connect. So you can tell the control panel to connect you to a different Phidget on a different computer. So that's, I think, how they do it with iOS, because the iOS one would connect to somewhere and then connect to the Phidget.
And then the last question, which someone kind of put a link to, is do you have the ability to read RFID devices? There's apparently a Phidget RFID read writer.
We spell it for you. So
Yeah,
we have
there you
here
go.
read wide, a card for it, and yeah.
Yep.
Oh, closing button. Oh, they have a lot of things here. Yeah, RFID tag for your keychain, yeah.
Or for your cat.
Yeah.
Use your cat. Margaret.
Yeah,
keeps
you could
losing her-
have an automatic door opening for the cat. If the cat comes near the reader.
Yeah, the door opens. It doesn't open for the other cats.
We could install that for all the cats. I don't know if they'd like that, but that way we could leave the screen door open so Bella can't escape.
Well, that's pretty good day. That's good. Christian Schmidt, that's awesome as always. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, no, thank you. This has been fantastic. I will
This
load
product's
this up.
really good.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
saying thank you. A lot of people excited about the Phidget stuff. So
Yeah, I think that Phidget, I just have to have I guess
You
I'm
have
never going to get a door thing ever, but whatever. I will get something that prints $100 bills or something, US currency. Just, Secret Service will love me. Just print 20 copies of a $100 bill. I need to go shopping. So I don't know.
there we go.
All right,
All
Margaret.
right, everybody. Have a good one. We will see you back here tomorrow, and we'll see Christian again in about 2 weeks.
2
All
weeks,
right,
Christian.
bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!